me do the standing.
It's a song that Rolling Stone called a worthwhile illegal download. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Steve Martin.
I'm Louis Black.
I'm Brad Garrett.
Hi, I'm Joan Rivers.
Hi, I'm Brad Pitt.
I'm William Shatner, and I'd like to wish the Just for Laughs people a
Happy anniversary, Just for Laughs.
Howie Mandel here, and I'd love to wish the Just for Laughs
The best.
The best.
The best.
the best, the best, the best,
The best.
the best.
The best.
You're very special to me, and I wish you a very, very happy 30th year.
When you first started, I was very young, and I wasn't sure that you existed or hadn't heard of you.
God, that makes me feel old.
Happy 30th birthday, Just for Laughs.
It's a wonderful, wonderful thing that you've done for comedy and for me in particular. Good for you. A happy 30th.
Happy 30th anniversary.
Greatest comedy festival ever.
This is the place where I got my American agents, and I never would have gotten into America. I never would have gotten my green card. I never would have got my TV show. So everything, in my belief, stems from Just for Laughs.
Interesting. So essentially your big break was here.
Big break was here, yeah. I actually, Brett Vincent, my manager from Britain, we did a solo show, and then we were out in the street, and some guy from CAA, which is the biggest agency in the world, came and said, "We think you're great. We'd love to be your agents." And they go, "We're from CAA." And I went, "What CAA?" And the guy was like, "Oh, that's good, that's good. I like that, that's great." Then he walked away and I went, "All right, well, I'm not gonna have any other fucking agent. I might as well just take this spot, you know?" And then I went back to their building, which is like a Death Star, and it was, yeah. So.
No, it's my first time, so it is an honor, and it's the 30th anniversary, and it's, I get to do my own new one-man show that this is the first time I've done it, so I'm really working on it. And we started last night and it went very well. I have a great band. There's a lot of music in it. It's a swinging band. And because you never know what kind of band you're going to get, you know.
Yeah, you want a swinging
No,
one.
I mean, you bring your musical director and you get a pickup band. And, you know, I've had bands that, you know, people have had like mitts for hands. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. But these guys were just great. So it's a hot show. It's fun. And, you know, I'm, like I was saying, I'm a throwback. I'm the white Sammy Davis Jr. I am.
What really the 30th anniversary became was a target to refresh what we're doing and not a pure look back. I think there's a wink look back, a nod to the past, but we didn't believe that that should be the focus. Our focus is really about making the event as relevant as possible and for certain to pay respect to the heavyweights that have made the festival great as much as we could. But really it's about not getting stagnant and irrelevant. It was about becoming as vital a comedy event as we could, hold on to our crown, and not get lazy and push ourselves forward.
Is it still a thrill for you to come here?
Oh, I love it. I love this festival. I love the city. I love just gigging.
Right.
And seeing all these comedians I haven't seen for ages, because obviously I've moved.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing all the Brits that I haven't seen for ages.
Right.
And I'm like, oh my God, oh. So it's like a big reunion. That's what this is. Like a big...
This is like being back at the store dressing room on a Friday night.
Yes.
But in Montreal, in a hotter city.
Exactly.
That's
yeah,
nice.
yeah, I love it.
What's great about this year's Just for Laughs, because it's the 30th anniversary, it's all the internationals. There's so many internationals here. But also I've started working in America a bit this year, and I've got a lot of friends stateside. And normally you see guys just with a look of panic and hunger in their eyes, like, oh, I gotta get a deal, I gotta get this, I gotta get my US visa. And now it's all just old hats who are just like, there's nothing here for us. There's no deals. We get some free beer, maybe. But it's as laid back as Melbourne. It's the most laid back I've ever seen everyone.
Mick, Foley, this is a real moment for me. You are, as I said earlier, you are one of my favourite wrestlers and one of my favourite comedians now as well. And there's no one else in the world I can say that to.
You know what? I enjoy someone who panders to me as well as I pander to my audience. It's great to be right here.
That's
with
good.
You, and it's GQ, right?
Exactly.
Has there been some mess up here? You guys see what you're looking at, right?
Yeah, handsome man. You've always been a handsome man.
Oh, man. You know, I always thought I was somewhat underrated. I always thought I had, you know, I used to bill myself as the world's ugliest wrestler, and it's just proof that if you push something long enough and tell a lie long enough, people will come to believe it as fact. I mean, I had people dead set and believe me, like I was absolutely hideous, like I had deformities, and it wasn't until people really got a chance to look. Honestly, I had told that, you know, used that moniker for so long that it wasn't until I did a 2001 episode of The Today Show where I was reading a children's book with Katie Couric that I look back and I'm like, you know, I'm not a bad-looking guy.
Do you still get excited coming to Just for Life? Is it still a big deal for you now that you're, you know, such a massive star?
I'm glad you said that. I was wondering where you're going to go with that. I suppose it's still a big deal because you never know what's going to happen. Right. It's quite weird when you're not doing, when you come to a festival, the only festival in the world where you do 7 minutes or 10 minutes max at various shows or galas or TV tapings. That's quite weird because you really see the difference, I suppose, between the North American kind of comedy and the Brits and the Europeans and the Australians, because we're so not used to just doing, you know, this is my 7-minute set, this is going to make me. And it's quite weird also being in the environment that we're in as well, because everybody, the industry, everyone's in the same place. And there's 2 hotels, you're either in one or the other, and you can't miss anything. People walking around with laminates, you know. I've had people come up to me going like that, and then walking off. Or, do you know what I mean? Or people looking at my agent's pass and going, no. You know what I mean? And you just come, it's a bit cutthroat. And I remember once coming here a few years ago and meeting in this archetypal sort of LA producer, you know, the cigar and the massive cigar, big, you know, slick back hair, big awkward suit on. Hey kid, you're funny. You're really funny, kid. I thought this only happened in movies. Really funny kid. Who says that anymore?
Is Just for Laughs still a big deal for you? Now you are a massive comic, a massive touring comic, DVDs, coming into specials, actor in a big show. Is this still a big deal for you to come and do?
No.
No.
No. They're lucky to have me. Let's not kid ourselves. You know what I mean? They're paying me a lot of money to be here.
Yeah.
I don't need to be here.
You're here because is it fun? Is it fun for you?
You know what? It finally is fun, to be honest. And I'll tell you what Montreal means to me now, because I came in 2001. And you saw it in the documentary.
And it's documented, and then it's obviously a big deal because then you're a rising comic, and this is a make or break kind of.
And the expectations were very high. You know, they set a really high bar. When I landed, I was on the front page of the Montreal Gazette, front page of Globe and Mail, whatever their national paper was. I was the it guy. They had anointed me, and I didn't live up to the expectations. I didn't have a great set, and I also bought into it a little bit too much. You know, I reflect back on that whole time, and I think, you know, first of all, they put the other new faces, comedians, up at a different hotel. They put me up at the main hotel. They paid me. They treated me a lot differently. I had like a full-time escort, and, you know, from the festival. And I thought, you know, if I was another comedian, I would have hated me.
Interesting.
I really would have hated me. And I was set up for failure. And personally, I don't think I delivered at the level I could have delivered. And meetings were canceled the next day.
After the gala performance?
After the New Faces.
Right.
Yeah, and you know, it meant a lot at the time, and it really, I feel, damaged me for a while, and it forced me to go to a place where I had to grow.
Right, which is always a good thing. I mean, they do, you know, they say that you learn more from a bad gig than a good gig. Obviously, it's preferable that if that bad gig isn't a massive comedy festival full of industry, but ultimately, if it made you a better comic and made you the comic you are today, then ultimately a good thing, surely?
I agree. In the end, you know, I wouldn't take it back. But now, what's wonderful is, now whether the festival just seems more relaxed to me. It's a place to come and have a good time.
I don't really think about. I mean, I don't think of myself as a comedy legend, because comedy legend usually implies you've done it so long that you know that we were stuck with you. But I do. And I don't really think about whether they've watched me or not, because I came along so late in a lot of ways. I mean, my career didn't really start until later, much that I don't have any consciousness of people watching me, and a lot of the people like who are younger than me are people that I was kind of hanging out and watching. So.
I think if you do anything long enough, you're a master, even if you suck at it. Like, if you just keep doing it. Like, my uncle's a bricklayer. I'm not sure he's that good, but I'd call him a master because he's 67. Enough time put in. Yeah, like, I guess when you first come up and you're a young comic, you're nervous and you're worried about things. And now it's not that I don't care. It's just there's nothing. The industry people, I don't need an agent. I don't need a manager. I don't want to be in a movie. I want nothing from them. There's nothing they can really do for me. So take them out of the equation, and now it just leaves the lovely people of Montreal. I'm just doing a show. Like, it's just another gig that, you know, hopefully there's a better meal afterwards than there would be in the States, which there is here.
Right. You know, this is the only festival, you know, they have them all over the place. I mean, Edinburgh, they have them, you know, there's a Scotland one, I don't know if they have them in England, but they have, this is the only one I've ever been to. Right. And I guess this being the 30th year, I think I've been here more than any other comic, because the Nasty Show became one of the most popular shows. So I think there's more pressure on me. I mean, it's a good kind of pressure, because since I've done it so many times, I got to do new material each year. Right. And hosting the Nasty Show, which isn't that hard for me to be nasty, since I'm the pit bull, it comes naturally to us. But you know, there's also the pressure, and it's not, like I said, bad pressure, but a lot of the other comics that are here, I mean, you have a lot of big-name comics here, and they stop by the Nasty Show, so you still do want to kind of impress your peers and do well in front of them, and, you know, at least I do. I put that kind of pressure on myself.
I think this is like my 6th, 7th time coming to Montreal, but there was a time when I first started that it was hard to get in Montreal. Yeah. You know, as a young comic, you're not ready, you don't make it, and so when you finally make it, it's like always exciting to me. Right. And I don't care if any comic tells you, oh, I get tired of that shit, they're lying. They're lying, all right? Bullocks is what I say. It's lying, all right? Piss off. You know you're happy to be here. I'm telling you, it's like it's great to be here because it's always like new people coming, and you see like established people. Yeah. And who doesn't want to come to Montreal?
But do you remember when you came in for the first time? Was there that kind of anticipation and the idea that like, oh, I'm gonna get a?
Because I used to sort of monitor it more than I do now, where you'd be like, oh, you'd walk in the room and there's like, oh, that big booking agent or whatever's in the room, and then you kind of see him leave while you're right before you go on stage. You're like, I just don't want to get caught up in like, why did I do that set if that guy wasn't in the room? It's like, well, there's 300 other people in the room.
Right, yeah, and they're the ones that are paid.
Right,
so.
and they're nice people.
Yeah.
They deserve the best.
I've been discovered here a couple times. I think it's my 3rd time around being discovered. As far as big breaks go, they were, almost big breaks. Had a lot of almost big breaks, but it's nice to come up here. It's nice to come up here, not in any sort of, expecting anything or any sort of desperation or any sort of, kind of like, I hope something happens. I'm okay. I'm not looking for anything. I just feel, honored that they asked me to come.
Right. And how does Montreal differ from other comedy festivals?
There's a lot more people here, and it seems to be a different tone. It seems to sort of serve a kind of... I think a lot of people like Montreal in the industry because they can spend a lot of money on their company credit cards getting drunk for 3 days and calling it work.
Yeah, it was a great boost. I mean, as soon as I did my first Just for Laughs, I was on the radar, then it opened doors everywhere else. I started getting management and agencies that wanted to sign me on. I started getting TV interest. So, all those things build and it becomes a snowball. But it was a great foot in the door, into the industry for sure.
Yeah, and were you worried? Were you aware before kind of that first time at Just for Laughs that that's what could happen, and did that make you nervous?
I was hoping that's what would happen. I mean, I wasn't fully aware, but I was hoping that as soon as I got my foot in the door, that was it. I could, if I played my cards right, I could, build myself in the industry and make the right moves and get to where I am. So luckily it worked out. I had some good advice along the way. So.
An interesting thing about the Montreal Festival, as opposed to, I think quite a lot of people that are watching this will have been to Edinburgh.
Yeah.
And Edinburgh is a festival that you can just go to. Yeah. Basically, you put on the show yourself and you go, right, I'm going to put on a show. Yeah. I would like to lose quite a lot of money and put on a show in a tiny venue. But this is an invitation festival. Yeah. I think the reason people are in such a good mood and have such a good time here is that no one's having a bad one.
Right.
Everyone that's invited is good and has got their stuff going on, and it doesn't feel as kind of the way Edinburgh can feel weirdly competitive, and even if you're having a good one, you feel terrible because one of your good friends is having a shitty one, and they go, yeah, I sold 4 tickets for tonight. How are you? Fine.
Right.
So it's a great kind of atmosphere.